Here's the new AR-15 build that I have been working on for the past few months. I've been purchasing parts little by little and waiting for them to come in and kind of trying them out and trying to see if I even like some of the parts that I've chosen for this build. And just like any AR-15 build, I usually build it around the barrel and the bolt carrier group. However, with this particular build, I decided to buy a complete upper from a company called Primary Weapon Systems. The reason why I chose that manufacturer is because I wanted to try out something just a little bit different. And I usually build direct gas impingement AR-15s, but this particular one is a long stroke piston driven AR-15. And there are a lot of companies now that kind of make some decent piston-driven AR-15s, like LWRC, Adams Arms makes complete uppers and a piston system that you can kind of build. And the H&K 416, while pricey, is a short-stroke piston-driven AR-15. When I was looking, I did find that a lot of piston-driven AR-15s are relatively heavy, but this one from Primary Weapon System, it is a PWS MK111 Mod 1, and it is probably the most lightweight piston-driven AR-15 on the market. Not only is it lightweight, it is just a very high quality and reliable system as well. The barrel length is 11.85 inches, and it is chambered in 223 Wild. I decided to go with that particular barrel length because I wanted something that was still short, lightweight, and compact enough to stow, and that I could carry this around without getting really fatigued. But I still wanted to keep the strengths of the 223 Remington and the 5.56 NATO cartridge, and I found on paper that a 12 to 14 inch barrel for the 5.56 and 223 is about the right barrel length to go if you're not shooting a 16, 18, or 20 inch barrel. So I really wanted to keep the speed, the accuracy, the velocity, and the ballistics of the 5.56 NATO and 223. And I have found that with my experience and the about 200 rounds that I've shot through this has been 100% reliable. It's been highly accurate, and I have found that I can shoot targets up to 100 yards away. I really haven't tried out any further, but I also didn't have the 3x magnifier on when I was trying that out. Here are some pictures of my groupings at 50 yards away, and I gotta say I'm pretty happy with the results. While this isn't a super accurate gun, I'm pretty happy because the barrel length isn't real long, and I was kind of concerned with the red dot that I was running and how short the system was, and just the buffer system and everything that I was running on it, that it wasn't going to be as accurate as it was, and I was highly impressed and really surprised overall. When I got home, I did clean it, and there was a considerable difference in how much carbon was in my direct gas impingement AR-15 compared to this piston-driven AR-15. There was almost no carbon buildup, and I was highly impressed, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I chose this particular upper. So let's go over some of the other parts that I put onto this rifle, because I designed this rifle to be kind of a do-it-all duty, all-purpose rifle. So let's talk about the flashlight. I chose an Olight Odin Mini, and it came as a complete package with the flashlight, the mounting system, and even a pressure pad, which I don't utilize. I really like that it takes surefire scout mounts, so your Arisaka mounts, your Magpul mounts will all work for this. It has 1250 lumens at the tap, and it throws 240 meters, which I think is quite impressive for such a lightweight and compact flashlight. It had all the features that I was looking for in a flashlight, and I'm not breaching doors or barricading my flashlight onto brick walls, so while I do believe this flashlight is pretty durable, it isn't the most durable like a Cloud Defensive or Surefire. So it's just a really good flashlight for the price. The entire flashlight system was only $100. I do run a sling. It's a 2-point sling, a Magpul MS4, and I just chose a really cheap Amazon special QD attachment point for it. I put it on the end of my rail and it served its purpose well. It's held my sling and I really can't complain about it. It was cheap and it's one of the few Amazon products that I can actually recommend. The front and rear flip-up sights are Magpul MBUS Pros, and I try to utilize these on most of the AR-15s that I have. I like that they are a duty-grade flip-up sight, that they're an all-steel construction. However, the windage and elevation knobs can be quite stiff for the adjustments. I have sighted this on my green dot and they hold zero pretty well, but I'm pretty happy with them. I paid $130 for the pair. I did change out the primary weapon system A2 style flash hider, and I changed it out for a Strike Industries Checkmate compensator. One of the reasons why I chose the Checkmate comp was because I wanted to try out the Strike Industries oppressor blast forwarding device. I shoot at an indoor range and a pretty crowded outdoor range, and the Strike Industries oppressor allows me not to be as obnoxious to my neighbors. It kind of keeps the gases forward and doesn't shoot them to the side like my compensator is designed to do. It's got a really solid ratcheting system, and I can take it on and off whenever I want to, and I really like that feature. I chose the Checkmate comp because it was a compact compensator. I wanted to keep the length of the rifle down as much as I could, and having a overly long compensator can really add a lot of length to your barrel. And I just really like the looks of it. It's got really aggressive prongs. You can use it as a standoff device. It says you can utilize those prongs as a wire cutter as well, but I haven't used them for those. But it just looks good, and I like that you can put on the oppressor. I also have other Strike Industries muzzle devices. They've worked pretty well, like the Triple Crown comp, the J comp, the Venom flash hider, and they actually all take the oppressor. So it was kind of a nice feature that I could utilize the oppressor for this particular muzzle device as well. One negative I can say about the oppressor is that it is a very heavy device. It's solid, but it does weigh down the end of your rifle a lot. It does look cool, but it isn't something that you need to have on the end of your weapon system at all times. So let's talk about the sighting system. It's actually pretty complex on this weapon system. Like I touched on before, I'm running some flip-up iron sights as a failsafe. They're Magpul MBUS Pros, and I really like that they're low profile. They're more low profile than the polymer Magpul MBUS. I also like that you can change the rear aperture. It's got a smaller diameter hole to make your more precise shots, and when you flip it up, it is protected. And they're just a really solid flip-up sighting system. I can shoot groups relatively well with these iron sights, so technically all I need are these iron sights. I'm also running a 3x magnifier, a Holosun HM3X, and I know it's actually a little extra for this. The only reason I put this on is because I wanted to see if I could hit targets past 100 yards, and I don't even have to keep it on. It's got a quick detach system. It comes off quickly with that detach system and mounts on just as easily. A part of me also wanted to see if my magnifier could clear my iron sights, and it does. So my iron sights can stay on and I can utilize my magnifier when I need it and when I don't. My magnifier usually stays off this rifle, but it's nice that I have that option. I will say with the magnifier and with the oppressor blast forwarding device, it does add about 1.5 pounds of weight. So those two items really do add on a lot of weight to my weapon system. So I don't usually run the oppressor and I don't usually run my magnifier. But I just really like the options of being able to put this on the weapon system when I need it. And just having that versatility is really nice to have. The red dot is actually a green dot. It's a Sig Sauer Romeo 5 XDR with the Predator reticle system, but I normally keep it on the 2 MOA green dot. It's a really budget-friendly red dot system. It takes a AAA battery, it has an auto-on feature, an auto-off, and it mounts up very well with the Holosun HM3X. This is one of my favorite red dot systems for the money, and for 150 to 200 bucks, you really can't go wrong. So I have a solid red dot, a 3x magnifier, and backup iron sights. This is truly a do-it-all sighting system if I need it. So let's go to the back end now. I'm utilizing a Strike Industries PDW stock, and it truly is an all-in-one stock system. It came with a QD attachment point for my sling, the castle nut, a flat wire buffer spring, a small buffer weight, it weighs about 1.7 ounces, and the stock itself. I like the rapid deployment. It's a simple button press, and the stock shoots out. I like the length of pull, and it's just a very good looking and well functioning stock system. The only issue I've had with the stock is the castle nut. It's kind of hard to tighten. It's not easy, and I kind of have to use a vice grip with a towel around it in order not to mar up the finish. The charging handle is a Radian Raptor LT, and Radian Raptors are my go-to for charging handles on the AR-15 platform. They're ambidextrous, so you can pull it from both the left and right side. It's got a lifetime warranty, oversized roll pins, and it's just overall a good-looking charging handle. I can't ask for much more out of a charging handle. The trigger I'm utilizing is a Rise Armament RA-535 drop-in trigger system. It's got a skeletonized, slightly curved trigger face. It has a crisp 3.5 pound brake with absolutely no take-up. That brake is so clean though, it breaks like glass. It comes with a set of anti-rotation, anti-walk pins, and the installation is really simple. It is a drop-in trigger system. The hardest thing is taking out your old mil-spec trigger. So let's talk about the safety. Since I'm utilizing the Strike Industries PDW stock, it has those bars running around the rear takedown pins. So I chose the Elftmann Crossbolt Speed Safety in silver. And I chose the silver just because it was easier to see. And it's just very tactile. You can hear it, you can feel it, and the more I use a Crossbolt safety for an AR-15, the more I'm becoming a huge fan of them. I did try to run a few other different safeties, from a 60-90 degree throw safety, a 45-90 degree throw safety, and the Elftmann Speed Crossbolt safety just has seemed to function the best out of all the safeties that I've used. So let's talk about some of the other small parts. On the rail, I put a BCM Gunfighter KAG Mod 3 angled handstop, and I really like that handstop. It functions well and offers me a lot of different hand positions. It allows me to get consistent hand placement, whether I'm maneuvering or carrying the weapon, shooting it, and when I have my preferred hand placement on it, I can actuate my flashlight, and it is just a very comfortable hand stop. It isn't too large and it doesn't get in the way. This isn't my favorite hand stop on the market, but this is definitely in my top 3. One thing I forgot to talk about up in the front was the adjustable gas block. It's a .750 profile gas block, and it has 3 settings. 2 for shooting suppressed, 1 for shooting unsuppressed. And there's a cutout in the top of the rail that allows you to get to those settings and to adjust it very easily. You can adjust it with a small screwdriver, a tip of a bullet, or the tool that it came with. I really like the gas block settings on it. And then running on your gas block is one long piston arm, which cycles your bolt carrier group. But it isn't your typical piston arm. It doesn't have your piston cups and your piston springs like your LWRC M6A1s or your H&K 416s, but just one long piston arm that strikes the face of your gas key that cycles the bolt carrier group. It really is an easy system to take apart and to maintain. And overall, I'm just very happy with the piston system that Primary Weapon System has created for this. The rail is an 11-inch M-LOK duty grade rail manufactured by Primary Weapon Systems themselves. It's a very high quality rail. And it isn't a Mod 2 with the pick lock system. and it's still the same internally, but I paid $780 for this upper complete new, and the Mod 2 was almost $1,000, so I saved over $200 by going with the Mod 1. And everything internally is exactly the same, so the only thing that I would be paying for was a better rail and a better upper receiver. Being a piston-driven AR-15, the bolt carrier group is proprietary, and I have found there are only a few interchangeable parts between your standard M16, 5.56, 223, and 300 blackout bolt carrier groups with the primary weapon system bolt carrier group. Those being the extractor and extractor springs. I think the firing pin may be interchangeable as well, but I haven't tried it. And there are a few manufacturers that actually make some spare parts for the bolt carrier group. So you will have to go through primary weapon system or another manufacturer that I can't think of off the top of my head that makes some spare parts for it. That is probably the only downside to owning a system like this, is that I usually like to keep a full bolt or bolt carrier group on the ready as a spare, just in case my bolt carrier group fails or something goes wrong, that I have something on hand that allows me to change out the bolt carrier group and still allow me to utilize this weapon. And I have found that the in-stock spare parts aren't as easy to come by for this system. There are only a few upgrades that I may do to this weapon, one being the flashlight. I'll probably change it out to a cloud defensive or a surefire someday. I do run a lot of Olights. The reason being is because they are cheap, and I can throw a flashlight on all my pistols, all my AR-15s, all my shotguns, and I don't have to interchange flashlights. And it's kind of hard to put a $400 to $600 flashlight system on every pistol and every AR-15 that I own. The Olights are also rechargeable, saving me money on flashlight batteries. When I used surefires back in the military, I used to drain my batteries a lot, and those batteries were expensive. And that's just an extra cost. Not only are you talking about a $600 flashlight system, but you're talking about changing out those batteries about once every 2 weeks or so. And I just don't have the money for it. And I try to save money where I can, especially with a build like this. So enough about the flashlight. Let's talk about some of the other small parts. The lower parts kit that I used was a Strike Industries enhanced lower parts kit. And that's my favorite lower parts kit for the $35 or so that I put into them. It comes with a 60-90 degree throw, ambidextrous safety. It comes with extended takedown pins in the front and the rear, an extended bolt catch, and an extended magazine release button. It's a really good lower parts kit for the money. The grip I utilize is a Magpul K2 Plus grip, and that is my favorite grip on the market for the AR-15 platform right now. I like the 17 degrees steep angle that it has. The front and back straps has some nice texturing, and it's got a storage compartment on the bottom. And the plus on it just means it has a rubber overmolding, which allows you to really get a good grip on it, even when your hands are dusty, muddy, wet, whatever they may be. It's just a really good grip, and I spend about 15 bucks on those grips. If I can change out the trigger guard like I did on this lower receiver, I usually put on a Strike Industries Cobra Billet aluminum trigger guard. And for something as simple as a trigger guard, this really has a lot of features. The first feature is that it gets rid of that gap between the grip and the lower receiver. And I've actually had that gap pinch my fingers while firing the weapon while it's under recoil, and any aftermarket trigger guard should get rid of that gap. The second feature are the Cobra wings on both the left and the right side. They are finger rests, and it's just really nice that it gives your fingers a place to lay when you're not firing the weapon. And then the third feature are the Cobra fangs that hang out past the mag well. They allow for the magazine to be guided into that mag well and just make reloading just a little bit easier. And it's just a very good looking trigger guard. And for the 14 or 15 bucks that I put into them, I can't ask for much more out of a trigger guard. And one of the last things that I can talk about is the dust cover. I did change out the mil-spec dust cover to a Strike Industries Ultimate dust cover. The installation was really simple, really easy. If you have a stripped upper, I highly suggest that you put on the Strike Industries Ultimate dust covers. They have some raised lips allowing you to get a better seal. The installation is really easy. They are made of polymer, but they do make billet aluminum ones if you don't want polymer ones. They offer a few different designs. I chose the American flag one, but they have some plain ones, a capsule one, and some in different colors with your billet aluminum ones. I really like the dust cover. So that's about everything that I can talk about with this build. I handpicked all the parts for the features that I was looking for. And what I was looking for in this rifle was something that was compact. I wanted to keep this rifle under 30 inches. I wanted to be able to shoot 5.56 NATO in 223. I also wanted to keep the ballistics and the velocity of the 223 cartridge while still keeping a compact package. I also didn't want to spend a ton of money on the AR-15 itself, while still keeping this very versatile and almost duty grade. And there were a few other parts that I was considering, especially in the stock system. I looked at the Maxim Defense CQB stock with the JP Enterprises silent capture spring and a Q Shorty stock. But I just chose the Strike Industries PDW stock because of that rapid deployment and also the looks. I just think it's a good looking stock. But the rapid deployment really sold me on the stock. And I've actually utilized that stock system with a few different calibers and different barrel lengths. I've used it with 7.62 by 39, 5.56, 300 blackout, all in 10.5, 16-inch, 14-inch barrel sizes, and it's just really ran well with whatever I fed it. But if you bought the MK111 complete rifle straight from primary weapon system, it comes straight from the factory with an H2 buffer. So I wasn't entirely sure that that little 1.7 ounce buffer weight in the Strike Industries PDW stock was going to be able to cycle anything that I fed this weapon. Now, don't get me wrong. If I get a suppressor for this, I probably will need to change the stock system or buy a different buffer weight. And there is a manufacturer out there that makes a different buffer weight and heavier buffer weights for this PDW stock system. So that's my long stroke piston driven AR-15 build. And I gotta say, it's just a very good looking rifle. And I also like the reliability that I've had with it. It's been 100% reliable with steel cased, aluminum cased, and some old brass that was starting to corrode. And it's shot 100% reliable, ejected at 2 and 3 o'clock, and I can't be happier with just the overall functions of the rifle. I like everything about it, but that's because I put it together exactly to the specifications that I was looking for. And I also designed it to look good. And half the battle at the range is looking cool. So not only do I look cool, but I look cool because it also functions and shoots well. I've got a few other builds that I got to bring to you guys. I've got a 7.62 by 39, 10.5 inch burnt bronze Cerakote build that I just finished. And then I'm also working on a combat gray and blue SPR 18-inch 223 Wild build that I'm going to bring you. I'm also going to do a lightweight build and a combat build after that. So stay tuned for all my builds in the future. And let me know down in the comments what you guys think. But I appreciate the support, and thanks for watching.